especially if you listen to him when he was talking about reparations, he's talking about establishing a new republic of Africa. That is agent talk. Go ahead, Paige.
Hey, peace and love, everybody. I really appreciate this conversation that you all are having this conversation, and I recognize some of the other chiefs up here. Give thanks and gratitude. One thing that I definitely have to emphasize to people is that the reason as to why we have not gotten any reparations is because we still don't understand. And I'm talking about, when I say we, I'm even talking about even the most intelligent of Moors still have not been able to navigate through this legalese trap that we've been trying to get up out of. See, we are debtors to the U.S. government. So we'll never, ever get reparations in the form that we think we will, because everybody else come here on visas. We all are debtors. They all still have their nationality. One second. They all still have a nationality. And although, yes, you can say you're Moorish, you're this, you're that, but if you continue to keep engaging with the United States government and contracting with them, you're just still going to be a Moor. You're just still going to be indigenous. You're just still going to be an American Indian who's still a debtor to them. So, and it's 2024.
So you don't think reparations?
I'm telling you this because I actually have cases involved in this. So I'm still. I mean, some people who say this don't have cases.
Can I ask you this then? Because I'm actually a diplomat of a Moroccan state court, and yes, Moors are over here stateless, and they haven't returned back to the nation state. This is the reason why a lot of the rhetoric happens within the Moorish community. So.
Right. I gotta ask a question, guys. I gotta pause you guys. Guys, we're talking about reparations here, and we have already gone off into the weeds. And I gotta ask you both, Amari, what's your lineage, man?
Well, I'm Cherokee and Moroccan.
And Moroccan. Paige, how about you?
I'm from here. I don't like to use those terms. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, I see how this is going. Well, Paige, you have a great day. I don't do ops. I don't do agents. I don't do ops or agents, Paige. I don't do ops or agents. That you can see where that was going, right? So go ahead.
Yeah, I got a little noise in the back as I'm in a big rig right now. Just bear with me.
I feel you, brother.
I hear what you're saying. I don't think the cash option is a good option. Because I think the reason why they're doing this right now is for re-election, right? Because this is not a bill. This is just a proposal, right? So they know everybody across the world is getting off of the cash. So if we get the cash value, if we get the cash in the U.S., we're going to put ourselves into recession. We're going to have the greenhouse effect. Put it this way. You have 5 people and you have give each of them $1,000. And they could only trade with themselves. What would be their per capita per year? It only would be 5,000. You get what I'm saying? I think you're in a unique position that you're overseas, because I think what they should be asking for is gold bonds or gold certificate. That way, it's an international currency that you're not subject to only U.S. You can do business overseas. That's why they give it. They want to give out cash, because the cash is dead. When you give the cash in the next 10 to 20 years, nobody's accepting cash. You can't do business outside, and you're stuck in the U.S.
Can I just ask you a question, brother? So when they weren't paying when they weren't paying when they weren't paying us for all these years, was it because cash is gonna be was it because cash was gonna be devalued, or was it because we were black?
The time, right now, what he's saying, y'all, to sum it up, our dollar has went to zero value. So since that's the case,
no, it hasn't.
Yes, it has. Go look on the exchange right now. It says zero.
So right now, if I go to the store right now, hold on, wait. I'm asking a question. If I'm going to the store right now, if I go to the store right now and if I buy a soda for the same price that I just bought soda for on this morning, would you admit that you were wrong?
So what I'm speaking on is the trade to oil dollar ratio, and that's where
That
they
is
get the
not what
value
he
of the
just
dollar
said.
from. Yeah, that's where they get the dollar from. That's where they get the
Okay.
Yeah,
value of
that's
the
that.
money.
Amari,
No,
babe.
that's
Yeah, you
hold on.
correct.
That's
You
a
correct.
petrodollar that you're
So
talking about. Our currency is
You
a fiat
correct.
currency.
You
We're not
correct.
related to
Right.
that.
You correct. The fiat currency and the petrodollar is the same thing. Don't never get it twisted. What I am
They're not.
saying,
right, yeah.
what I am saying is the same thing. She is. I don't know if it's a her or a dude, but it's the trading value of the currency. Yes, you can go to the store right now in the U.S. and buy something. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
because this is the U.S. The U.S. backs its money. But as
Right.
you can see around the world, they are not using the dollar. They are moving away from the dollar. They're getting their money back by gold currency.
When this dollar crash happens, right? Let me ask you a question. Are they going to stop giving money to Ukrainians? Yes or no?
That's what I was about to ask because I don't see them
Well,
giving
you
Ukraine gold bonds and stuff like that.
I would like a yes or no answer to that. Do you suspect? I'm not asking you yes or no. Do you know for sure? Do you suspect they're still going to be giving dollars to Ukraine?
yes, they're still going to
Well,
give
we,
at
Yes,
least
we
they're going to
$80
actually
still
billion
don't
be
know
worth
giving
what
of
dollars
form of
to
currency they
Ukraine.
gave.
They're going to still be
Can
giving
it?
dollars to Ukraine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
AD,
So that means that
AD,
why can't we
General
get the same
ACAB, I got to
dollars?
drop. Thanks for having me, brother.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother. I feel you. Yeah. So the dollar has gotten stronger in the last 3 months, guys. We've got to stop spreading this propaganda. All right. Every time that we bring up cash reparations, that's always a different excuse, and that's getting old. Because I got to ask you, paper tech, where are you from, brother?
I'm from the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Oh, wait a minute. Do you understand reparations in terms of what's being proposed in California and also what's going to be proposed federally is going to be linked to lineage base?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So why is it that everybody? I mean, I've had Black Wing, I've had Paper Tech, I've had Amari. Why is it that everybody who's not linked to this lineage talking down on reparations on
what
cash?
lineage? What lineage you're talking about? If you could clarify.
The people who are Black descendants of American slaves, the people who are linked to the soil here, the people who have been here for generations, like hundreds of years. Our own
Oh,
separate lineage group.
okay.
Family,
I
can I
get what
can I
you're
ask?
saying.
Can I,
So let me clarify. So let me clarify. Not everybody's just based in the U.
What?
Not based in the U.S. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, my Bluetooth went dead. So my family was taken from the West Coast, brought to North Carolina, slave on the sugar field, then took to New York, slave on the sugar field, and then was moved to Barbados. And then when the
Okay.
U.S. bought the U.S. Virgin Islands for 32 ounces pound of gold, they sent my father, my lineage, to the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Right.
So you see how that's intertwined.
I'm thinking
You
that you're
saying
doing a little
lineage
bit of a. There's a logical fallacy known as special pleading.
because right now you can see this the same sugar field in New York was
Mm.
the Domino sugar is still there.
Are you sure you have a lineage to here, brother? Because I'm gonna let you know something right now.
I'm telling you, I'm a
I've
Freeman
been to all 50. I've been to all 50 states, right? And I know us very well. And I don't take this. I don't think this is funny.
get
I'm gonna
this.
ask you one more time.
My
Brother,
grandfather's
you have
last
you have
name is
said you have repeated everything that I heard the Moorish Science Temple repeat at the reparations meeting in California. The same silly
oh
stuff.
really? I have
Yeah.
no idea about those guys.
Wait, there's a
Brother, I'm gonna
more
ask you one more
temple?
time.
Yo,
What is your lineage?
My lineage is West Africa.
Okay, now you changed it from the US Virgin Islands to West Africa. Sir, I want you to have a good night and I don't want you ever sir, have a good night. Do you
yeah,
see
yo,
you
what I
can't
mean?
my
you
bad.
can't be
Yo,
American
yo.
and African.
Can I?
That's silly.
Whoa. Hey, yo, can I say something real quick?
No. He just
Okay,
said he's from the US Virgin Islands, right? But then he
but
also says he's from West Africa.
I mean,
And
but
then
I
on
was
top of
born in
that,
North
you're talking
Carolina.
bad, talking down on reparations. That's 3 strikes, brother. Come on now.
I don't think he was necessarily. I just want to say this too, right? Real quick. So I
Who
He
was
wasn't
identify as
talking
African,
down on the
even though I was
reparations.
born in North
Amari? I'm
Carolina.
gonna
He was
ask you
more
one more
so.
time. What is your lineage?
I told you I'm Native American and Moorish.
Okay.
My
Okay.
father was Moorish. My mother is Cherokee.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and you can have a good night too. I don't
Yo,
do ops.
Wait, my
so
crazy
I don't
thing
do
is
ops.
like,
real quick,
this is
hey,
the crazy
yo,
thing to
can I say
me.
something real
To
quick?
me, it doesn't matter what your lineage is. You should respect the fact that people need to get paid. That's it.
Right.
I don't disagree that we don't need capital and cash. And what I said was the Republic of New Africa, right, which is a collection of southern U.S. states started by like Robert Williams and a whole bunch of other people. It's land based because we need land. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not saying we don't need cash, but I'm saying we still got to keep fighting because they're not just going to give you cash. They're not going to give us cash. They're not going to give us anything without a fight. So either way, we should fight for as much as what we can get. That's all I'm
Right.
saying.
Right.
And
So
then the
so
thing with
so
Ukraine, we got to understand like geopolitics too. You know what I'm saying? Like they have interest in Ukraine, and of course, like they're going to because they're
yeah, because
also
they're white.
yeah they're white, and when you look at the groups in Ukraine fighting, the reason that they fighting over it's been a
No.
thing like over
No,
resources
it's
as
just because they're
well.
white. That's
It's
just it.
white and resources. It's
No, it's
white and
white.
resources. Okay,
It's white.
all right.
It's
Well,
white. The
can I
the
say?
other
Can
the
I
other thing
say?
is that you're saying again because if it's about the whole the regional thing, well, how come the U.S. government hadn't sent any particular weapons to the IRA in Ireland?
Because
There's been a
their
whole bunch
biggest
of regional
ally has been
conflicts
the
that
UK.
have
Their
been going
biggest
on for a
ally,
long time.
their
You
their
can't
biggest ally
justify that.
hasn't been the IRA though. Their biggest ally hasn't been the IRA. It's been the UK. They've been supporters of the United Kingdom's domination, like point blank period, worldwide. So
But
if
the
the
thing
IRA
is,
is
though,
going against the
the
United
only
Kingdom's
reason why
government
Ukraine is getting money is because they're white.
because they're
Now, the
white and
reason
because
why
they're
we
going up
we are
against Russia
because
though,
they're white, sir. You
because
have
and
not
they're going
seen
up
anything
against
like
Russia.
this,
Okay, all right, no.
sir.
I
So
mean,
Russia has never went into a country that's not white. Listen to me. It's because they're white. You want to know how you know it's also because they're white? Because when they're also brought here, they're treated like they're white, sir.
I think what he's saying is, I think he's not disagreeing with you, but I think he's saying that it's not strictly because they're white. It's
It's
because they're
because they're white.
white. It's because they are white. You feel me? And because of resources
yeah, like it
and
can be because they're
strategic.
white, but there's also added things to that. That's really all I'm saying. That's literally it. Like that's literally it. Like,
No,
we live under a system of
it's
economic and racial exploitation and domination. That's how it's
sir.
been.
The
That's how
only
it always
reason
been.
why we intervene in Ukraine is because they're white. You want to know how I know that? Because if we can extract resources out of something and without intervening to help the people, we will do that. You want to know how you know that? Look at
They've
Rwanda.
been over in Africa.
How the
Yeah,
U.S. is involved in Somalia. They've been involved in Afghanistan. They've been involved
they've
in
been
Iraq.
involved,
They've
but
been
not
involved
helping
in
them.
Sudan.
They've been
And
undermining the governments. You're starting to sound more and more like an agent, sir. I know how they're trained.
All right,
I'm an agent.
we would have been over in
Okay,
South Africa
all
if
right.
that was the
Sir,
case.
you're sounding more and more like that
You don't know me,
because what you're
dog, but it's
saying,
cool though. All right, I mean that's
you don't.
cool. I'll be an agent then, fam. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. You start to sound more and more like it, sir. Because when you start talking about West Africa, and again, notice the example that you just used, right? Notice the example that you just used, and notice how he deflected. That was very weird. Very weird. That he was not agreeing. We were not saying the exact same thing. Especially if you listen to him when he was talking about reparations, he's talking about establishing a new republic of Africa.
Mm-mm.
That is agent talk. Come on, man. Listen, if some Negro shows up to your reparations meeting, and you start talking about cash, and then instead of talking about the cash you're gonna actually receive, he starts mentioning the new Republic of Africa that's going to be established in the southern United States. Think that the U.S. military is gonna let a bunch of black people establish a Republic of New Africa. Boy, we are struggling to get cash payments. One thing at a
And
damn time.
I don't think a lot of people realize the fact that Candace Owens asked to do the same thing. It was called a Blexit, a black exit. Remember,
Right.
Candace Owens promoted that. She is a
That was
whole agent.
that was
And she was
exactly
also
that
not
was
instigating.
exact.
Hey, General
Yeah,
ACAB. Hey, General ACAB. I got something to say about reparations, but first off, I want to salute you for your tireless service. You feel me? On behalf of all foundational Black Americans. You feel me? And
thank you.
I had sent you a DM. I don't know if you got it, but
Go ahead.
but here's my thing. A lot of people let the definition of money go over their head. The definition of money is an accepted and agreed upon medium of exchange. You see what I'm saying? So in the Constitution, it says the only constitutionally lawful money is gold and silver, right? So I'm all for reparations, cash reparations, but because of what the definition says, it's an accepted and agreed upon medium of exchange. It doesn't necessarily have to be cash. It can be buttons, it can be hats, it can be zippers on jackets. You feel me? As long as it's accepted and agreed upon. So all I'm saying is that we need to have a medium of exchange that's immune to the changing of what the definition of what money is, regardless of what they decide of what money is. Our money is going to be spent. So that's the fear that I have for cash reparations is because once we get it, they might change what the definition is.
Okay.
They might change what is accepted and agreed upon as money.
China ain't gonna let them do that.
Can I just ask you a question? How many Ukrainians do you see hauling around silver and gold?
None, not that I know of.
Oh, so why do you not see any homeless ones?
Because as of right now, they have cash. But do you understand what my fear is?
Right.
Okay.
So as of right now, I want cash.
Yeah, and trust me, your fear is very
But we can't
unfounded
put
because
nothing
trust
past
and
these white
believe.
supremacists. We can't underestimate them under any circumstances. It's
The white
chess for 9
supremacists
seconds,
are
kid.
giving the Ukrainians money, so I want the exact same thing. If the white supremacists think that cash is so good that you're giving it to these Ukrainians, I want the same. I want the exact same thing. And when they start giving out gold bars to the, I tell you, listen, I'll make a deal with you. When they start giving out gold bars, and silver to the Ukrainians, I'll take that too. But for right now, they're giving out cash.
And trust and
Okay,
believe that your
so what
fear
if
is definitely
what if they give
unfounded
out
though,
cash, we get
because
everything that we want, right? But then they change what the definition of money is, and then our cash becomes valueless. Then what?
I'm trying to
What
tell you
what
that
what is that?
look,
Oh God, that's a conspiracy theory. Listen, this is
yeah, can
why
I have
I
a
I, I
second?
struggle with TikTok. Go ahead.
Yeah. So your fear is completely unfounded. They're not going to change what the definition of our money is because one, America owes people a lot of money. If we try to change what the definition of money is, I guarantee you right now, China going to be up in arms because they want their fucking money too. You're not about to just change what the definition of money is just because of a group of people wanting to get reparations. That's apt. Your fear is definitely unfounded.
All right, bro. It's chess, not checkers, bro. Preparation loves
Yeah.
victory.
Like you ever seen Rick and
Yeah.
Morty and where he says like China doesn't piss on
Listen,
the White House and Rick says why wouldn't they? I'm sure that was expensive. Like
hey,
there
B
you go.
Love. Hey,
What's
B
up
Love.
with
I,
it?
I want I want to ask you a question. B Love. Do you know anything about the Moorish science on Temple?
I know a little bit about it. I don't subscribe to everything you feel me they do, but you feel me
Oh,
I know something about it though.
what do you know about it?
I know, you feel me? I don't really want to go into that, but I know about it. You feel me? They're real proficient in the law, and they,
Uh,
centered around, Islam and being a Muslim. You feel me?
right.
And they're real proficient in their law. And they talk about, you know, the Moorish about changing like status correction, about, Tariq Nasheed refers to it as plebiscite Babel.
Oh, well,
You see what I'm
I,
saying?
I, I listen. I'm going to reserve my judgment for right now. I just want to say, what did you hear that idea that they're going to change the definition of money?
I didn't
What did you
hear
first hear that?
I didn't hear that idea, but when you look up the definition of what money is, it's an agreed and accepted upon medium of exchange. So by
Hmm.
definition, they can, if they choose to, change the definition of what money is, change the medium of exchange. You
Hmm.
feel me? By definition, these is not my words. This is what the
Right. So,
definition is. You see what I'm
and,
saying?
and you think they would do that if they paid us reparations?
I'm not saying that necessarily. I'm just saying that we can't put nothing past these white supremacists and that preparation loves victory. So we have to be prepared and we have to get ourselves in the best position just in case that does happen.
So what you're proposing is an extreme scenario that may or may not happen.
Yeah,
Extreme, but this is the most extreme. Them changing the definition of money, that is more extreme than declaring war. Do you understand that? That is more extreme than declaring war.
brother. These white supremacists is the most evil, most diabolical people on the
But
face of this created
I'm
planet.
asking you a
So I'm
question.
not putting past. I'm not putting nothing past these motherfuckers, bro.
But
Period.
but I'm asking you a question. Do you understand that will be a more extreme measure than declaring war?
I got that, but I'm not putting nothing past none of them because
Okay,
preparation
so
loves victory, bruh. Preparation loves victory, and we have to be
so
prepared if we want to become victorious.
right, right. So what you're saying is you want us to demand gold bars and silver based on an extreme scenario that is, in most likelihood, probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen.
Definitely not
Right.
gonna happen.
That's the constitutionally lawful money. Just look it up. It's in the United
Okay.
States Constitution.
So I asked you, did you know anything about the Moore Science Temple? You said you know a little bit. You repeated a lot of things that they usually say. That's why I was
But
asking you all those questions.
I don't refer to myself as plebiscite Babel. You feel me?
I,
I'm a
I didn't
realist.
say that.
I'm
I
a
didn't
realist.
say
I
that.
know, but
I
like
didn't
it's kind of
say
like
that I
you didn't say
agreed or
that, but you
disagreed.
insinuating that though. I think
He
How
also
what
said he
what
didn't want to
what did
talk
I
about
say
it.
that?
you did not say that. I agree with you. You did not say that, but all I'm saying is you're insinuating that. It's like an
How am I
innuendo.
insinuating? I'm saying how am I insinuating? I say it sounds a lot. I didn't even say that you actually did. I said it just sounds like very very similar stuff to what I hear from the Moore Science Temple. That's why I asked you because from the very very beginning it was sounding very very similar. And there's also a reason why I asked that because several people in the comment section here have been saying that too. So it's not just me who's been noticing that.
Okay.
So when I asked you the question of what do you know about the Moore Science Temple, you say a little bit. Were you understating that a little bit?
Lightweight.
Lightweight. So would you say that you understand them a lot better than the average person?
Yes.
Even the average black person?
Yes.
You subscribe to some of their beliefs?
I don't subscribe to anything that got anything to do with belief, brother. I'm in the knowing business. You feel me?
Okay. All right. So be love, man. You gotta come clean with me, man. What is
I
this
am.
actually about, man?
I
What is
am.
this about, man? What gold and stuff? You don't see Mexicans, people who are illegal aliens or people who come in over here who are getting money. You don't see them walking around with gold bars. You know that. You know that, right? So
Yes.
why are you pushing this? Why do I see so many more science typical guys at the
I'm just saying this is what
California
the law
reparations?
says, King. This is what the law says.
The law, the
Yeah, the
law
law.
says okay. Well, based on that,
The United States
we have to be
Constitution.
paid. Okay,
Yes, we do have to be paid.
I'm
We do have to
thinking
be
that you're being
paid.
obtuse on purpose, and you know I don't like that.
I'm not being obtuse. I'm being sincerely honest, King. I really am. I just, I just don't I just don't like that. Like you trying to downgrade me when all I'm trying to speak is the truth.
No one's downgrading you. I'm just asking you for honest stuff.
I'm being
And when
honest,
I
and
when I
I'm being
ask you about the more
110%
things
honest.
for you actually downplay that a lot because as I'm talking to you, you sound exactly like them.
Nah, I'm not, bro. I don't subscribe to a lot of what they. It's a lot of what they do. I don't subscribe to.
It's not about a lot of what they do, right? It's not about that. I just want to have an honest conversation in good faith, brother. That's it.
Yes, I'm being
In
honest
good
in good
faith.
faith. Yes, for sure.
So you understand where I'm coming from. I just want
Yes,
to
I
understand
do.
where you're coming from. I'm speaking for cash only, right? If you go to the average black person in the country and you tell them, hey, this guy wants me to get cash in my pocket right now, the average person is not going to see me as somebody who's against black people. But on the flip side is if you go to the average black person and you start mentioning things like a new Africa Republic, you start mentioning things like gold bars and silver
I
bars
don't
instead of
subscribe to
cash.
no new African republic, so don't
Well,
put
no,
me
no,
in
no.
the
I'm just
same ring
using.
as that.
I'm using examples. I'm not saying that you did that. I'm
Okay,
just using
I'm for
examples.
foundational Black Americans only.
Okay, that's the first time I've heard you use that term, and it's kind of
Nah, actually, it's my second time. It's my second time.
okay. Well, the thing is that we've kind of had this discussion in California, And when the people were asked, they wanted cash. Okay. The option to put gold stuff up there, that was already voted on. It was voted down. So the people of the lineage here, they want cash. That's what most commentators, most leaders of the movements, most people on the streets, most people on the grassroots, that's what most of them are saying. And it seems like the more we say cash, we get people saying everything but cash in ways that they are currently paying for and not accepting from other people. Prime example, I brought up Ukrainians not carrying around gold bars. If you really believe in what you're saying right now, you
I
would
don't
not pay
believe in
another
anything,
tax.
brother. Please don't put me in that belief word like on me like that. I'm in the knowing business, bro. I don't believe anything. If you
Listen,
believe something, you do not know.
you're playing semantics.
I'm not
You know
playing.
what I
Look up
mean.
the definitions, bro. Look
You
up the
are
definitions.
okay, brother. I hate to do this, but I'm thinking you're not. And I don't say that about most people. There's only been 3 of them here.
Bro, I'll fuck with you the long way, bro. You can think about me what you want to, bro, but the truth is the truth, bro. You feel me?
So you're talking about gold bars over cash. Seriously?
You
Do you
misinterpreted.
understand
You
how much
misinterpret.
do you understand how much space $10,000 in gold bars take up? Do you?
Yes,
How much?
a lot of room, a lot of room. But I think
So
you're
so so so
misinterpreting what I'm
the
saying,
average
bro.
person is not asking for $10,000. They're asking for $200,000 or more. Do you understand
Well,
how much
actually,
space you would need
no.
a
Actually,
whole acre to hold that?
a gold bar is worth more than $10,000. A gold bar
That's
is worth
not what
more
I
than ten
said. I
thousand
said how
dollars.
much space it would take up.
Not a lot, because a gold bar, one single gold bar, is worth more than
Have
ten
a good
thousand
night, sir.
dollars.
That's ridiculous. You are not. Goodbye. That's ridiculous. Oh my God. Jesus. Love him. Help me. Help me.
Brother,
Do you see what I'm talking about?
I see. It's
The
crazy.
dude's clearly a freaking op. It's not even funny.
It's right. I think the whole thing is it's a fear of the accountability that it's gonna take for us to rise. And it's also the fear of hoping and not ending up. But we have to hope. I think that's really what a lot of us we're scared to hope. And we're scared to actually be driving our own destiny. You know what I mean? So we kind
Right.
of like find these little small things to throw out because I mean that's a fixable thing. If they start playing semantics, we can do the same thing. We can,
Right,
it's
but
Yeah.
not a
but
big
but
deal. It's
has
not a
his
big
brother
deal.
even considered $200,000 worth of gold bars? You would need a freaking acre just to hold that.
Yeah, the thing about him saying like the gold bar was worth more. The gold bar, like a 5 ounce gold bar, runs for about 2K, and they're offering 10,000, right? So the bar is not
Right.
going to weigh more.
No, I
And
mean
then you
it's
have to
just
also consider that we may go into a full digital currency. That's probably there are some people who believe America itself won't even be habitable in the next 50 to 100 years. So we're going to start
yeah,
denying land too, you know. Like anything can
yeah.
happen in the future, but we got to walk this thing out one step at a time. Step one, money. Step one.
And notice how when I also said, I said, hey, when I see Ukrainians walking around with gold bars and silver bars, that's when I'll jump over to it. Well, I don't agree with that either. I'm like, brother, you are acting just like the white supremacist who I brought over. Whenever I ask him a direct question, he can never give a direct answer. Never, never. But then he will come with some crazy well, brother, if you read the laws, they can change the money, they can change the currency. He was going off of a freaking long shot. And I'm telling you, the more you listen to these people, there's a reason why these people show up here. This man sat here and listened to me for over an hour talking about how we needed cash reparations, right? For over an hour. This man has sat up here and then comes up here with some gold nonsense based on some non-existent law that he doesn't understand. Or he does understand, and he was presenting something in a bad faith argument, because I think that he's clearly not who he says that he is. That dude has been following me for a long time, and I've never trusted him. This is why I was so aggressive with him, because he's always said such stuff. But I'm so glad reparations again, like Professor Black Truth said, reparations as a topic, as an actual discussion, has exposed people. Once you bring it up, the ops will definitely expose themselves. The people
Hmm.
who are for us, they will speak up. I'm sorry, Ganatasia TV. I haven't even talked to you. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. No, you're fine. I've just been taking it all in. Y'all are obviously more educated on this topic than I am. I just had a couple questions for you.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So you're saying for reparations, you think that cash is the best bet, at least to start with, right?
Right.
And that's to descendants of slaves.
Right. Of chattel slavery here. Yeah.
Okay. So sorry, let me explain what I am. So I am, half Native American, and I have my CDIB card, which is the certificate of degree of Indian blood, right? And that's
Right.
something that I had to prove to the American government that, hey, I'm Native American. Please give me, XYZ of what you allow us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And going through that whole process was a rough time because you have to fight against the government because they don't want to give up that money. Now, I am all for African Americans and Black people getting reparations. The cash. My question is, how far does that cash go? Right. So you get cash today. You get whatever you're asking for, $1 million
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. What about your descendants? Do they also get that? And when do they get
Well, that would depend on what's being passed in terms of legislation. What I would like is exactly what your community gets. Exactly. Listen, not better than you, but exactly what you get. And if it can't be established, then take it away. That's fair. Now you could say, well, it's our land, and I would stop you right there. Actually, it's kind of our land.
Oh, I'm not.
If
I'm not
everyone
saying.
came, oh, hold on, wait. If everyone came from Africa, it would have to be us. Aside from that, the original natives were not as light as you. The original natives were about as dark as me, if not darker. Where do we know this? Because when Christopher Columbus when his autobiography and his actual diary was opened up, they had to actually bring over a Spanish Jew who spoke Arabic to communicate with the natives. And on top of that, Columbus even described the natives as dark-skinned people. And when some of the spears, some of the actual spearheads were carbon dated and actually tested, they found that the spears could have only come from parts of southern Africa. And this is why when you look at some of the Indians when they dance, some of their more popular spirit dances and that kind of stuff. And when you compare it to an African witch doctor and the way that he actually dances, it looks so similar. That's why. Now, with that being said, I understand that Native Americans have a bond to this land. I will not deny that. But I'm very curious to how you feel about Native Americans in terms of having us as slaves. Did you know that?
I did not know that. So, like I said, you're more educated on this than I am. Now,
Right.
I'm not saying that this is Native American land. Everybody get off of it. That's not how I am at all.
Right.
I am half Native American, but I'm also half Caucasian. So I'm very Caucasian facing. So I am pretty ignorant when it comes to some of these topics. Now, I am always learning, and I am not opposed to reparations. I want to make sure that if reparations are given, that it helps everybody and not just one generation, right?
Right. Right. Well, I think that if you give us enough cash, it certainly would. Because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you the same way that the many white families and other families they actually came up with the money that they were given, the generational wealth that they were afforded. They were only paid that one time or twice or everything, or pretty much 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But they came up and they stayed up. So if they give us that, give us that money, it's going to not only fix the problems within the black community, we're going to excel. We're going to start basically start jumping over people. By the way, Warrior for Trump. If you don't hop into the box, I'm going to ban you from the chat. But let's get back to what you were saying. Native Americans, man, I'm very curious. You didn't know that there was a lot of slave ownership within Native Americans. When you get a chance, when you get a chance, I want you to look up the Cherokee of chief. His name was John Williams. Oh, no, was it John Adams or John Williams? John Williams, I believe. He famously had black people as slaves on the Trail of Tears. See, that's the real story behind the Trail of Tears. Most people who actually died on the Trail of Tears weren't natives. It was us. But Native Americans, the early ones, were very, very racist against us. This is why even now you have black people who are suing native tribes for membership. And they lied about the Trail of Tears. They said it was mostly natives who died. No, it was mostly us because you had us as slaves. And so pretty much when things were going south, the first people who were going to be who were going to be denied resources were the slaves. And so we were starved to death. And my family in particular, there's parts of my family tree that goes missing around that time. So this is why it's so insulting when I see people trying to inject Native Americans into our claim, because
Well, I
it's so
wasn't trying to
insulting.
make the claim. I was just
Oh no,
it's just
I'm not accusing you of that. I'm just saying when you see that, it's very, very insulting because people and I really think more people know about this history than what they let on, because it's strange. At one point, the so-called red native was considered a mulatto or one of us, Negro. You recall that for the longest time until white people came along. Because
and
at one point, the natives were us. There were us. There were black people that were here for hundreds of years before we were ever recorded. Whether we also know this is because there were black people in the American Revolutionary War. There were black Muslims here in huge numbers. When I say huge numbers, there were so many of us that the original 13 colonies, it was drawn up largely on Moorish territory. The original 13 colonies. It was Moorish territory. See, this is why I get so upset when I have these fake Moors show up here talking about paying out reparations, speaking gold coins. These people are ops. The actual Moors, they existed. They were conquerors. They were planners. They were warriors. They were sailors. They were innovators. These people brought Europe out of the Dark Ages. They taught Europeans how to wash. Because at one point in Europe, especially in freaking Spain, they would brag about not washing, the kings and queens. So a lot of the medicines, a lot of the personal hygiene, a lot of the science, a lot of the technology, a lot of the engineering came from the Moors. And so it's very interesting how those same people came over here. There's evidence because they existed in huge numbers. In fact, not only did they exist in huge numbers, I bring up certain Revolutionary War heroes like Joseph Ben Haley. Joseph Ben Haley is not Joseph Ben Haley. He is Joseph Ben Salam. He was a black Muslim man who fought in the American Revolutionary War. And we know that he existed because of the military muster rolls or the military roll call. We know that he actually existed. There were a lot of Muslims, a lot of black Muslims who actually existed. In fact, if you look at the Morris Sundry Act of I want to say it's Morris Sundry Act of can't remember the exact year, but it was during early slavery times in South Carolina. The Morris Sundry Act came about because this country's first treaty was with Morocco. So Morocco, they had the Barbary pirates. I want to try to repeat it, kind of how I heard the story from my grandma. And basically these pirates, they could enforce those treaties exactly how Tariq Nasheed said it. Pretty much. I'm gonna borrow from him more, like he said it, right? And so pretty much these Moors, they existed here, but they were not supposed to be subject to be slaves. So the Morris Sundry Act, it came in South Carolina because in South Carolina, that's where 40% of your slaves came in through the port of Charleston. And there was a famous story of a black couple. There's a black man. I think it was his wife and his I want to say relatives who were taken as slaves, and they tried to, and then South Carolina tried to actually bring about the Moor Sundry Act, because if Morocco heard about them, you know, enslaving Moroccan citizens, it would have been a big old problem. Basically, the long and the short of it. So basically, what you're dealing with is history being retold to you that's been intentionally hidden. Everything that I just said right now is on full display at the Smithsonian Museum right now. It was recently discovered not that long ago. It was popularized by Tariq Nasheed through Hidden Colors, but there's a lot of freaking TED Talks, and also a lot of archaeological studies that confirm that we were in fact, here as Native Americans. This is why there's so much of your culture that's a lot of our culture. This is why, a lot of things that look at some of the rituals, some of the dances, some of the music, and then go compare it to West Africa or South Africa. It's the exact same stuff. It's just like when people from Mexico, they don't understand that gumbo is not indigenous to Mexico, or that when you listen to some of the drums, it sounds like drums from freaking South Africa. There's a reason for that. The further back in time you go, the blacker it gets. So it's about time that we go ahead and admit it. We were natives, and the result of the lighter natives came from colonization. That's what white people don't want to tell you. That's the part of history that you don't know. You, at one point, would have been called us. But because of colonization over time, and because they want to prioritize other groups over us, they made you something other than us. Okay? At one point, you would have been so dark that you would have that it would have been difficult to tell the difference between the two of us. But you've been colonized, so you look different and you think different. It is what it is, brother. But foundational Black Americans, we need reparations. The same way as Indians have their reservations and their casinos, same way as they have their reservations that you can't even visit without permission or escort. The same way if they sell their culture, they sell their culture. You have to go out and buy all the authentic wood carvings, or all the authentic jewelry, you know, trinkets. They charge you for all that stuff. You make your money. And the so-called homeless Native Americans that you're seeing out there, do you understand that a lot of those people have not been tested to see if they're actually Native? Many of them are white people. That's why every time people bring it up, well, black people aren't the only homeless people. What about the homeless Native Americans? You mean the mostly white people who are homeless? Because every white person claims to be Native. Literally every one. Literally every one. Without exception. Without exception. I guarantee you there's almost no homeless Native Americans. And how do I know this? If you're an actual Native, you have reservations. Why are you homeless? Well, look at the condition of those freaking reservations. It sounds a whole lot better than living on the streets like the disproportionate, like all the black people who are on the streets right now. So I say all that to say this: Native Americans have gotten their chips. It's time that we get ours. Hey, love him. I wanna ask you: did I not kind of knock it out of the park there, or what?
that, bro. You did that.
I
I'm over
gotta
here
say,
excited. You got me about to shout. Church
yeah.
time.
I'm just saying. I'm listen. I'm from South Carolina. I'm from South Carolina. I know what y'all talking about, man. I grew up in a poor neighborhood. We used to eat milk with a freaking fork to save the. We used to eat cereal with a fork to save the freaking milk, man. But our people have suffered long enough. We have fought and stumped for everybody else, bro. It's time for us to get our chips. It's time. It's been time.
And bro, and they should the Caucasian stance on this, they should be upset with the government for letting it go this long. When they see the other debts that we're in America, the debt ceiling keeps rising, they get upset with the government. They say, how dare them? How dare them get this far in debt and mismanage our money? We may not have Social Security. They get mad, but when it's us who are old, they get mad at us who are old. They should be upset at their government for letting this go on for this long, because just like they did it for over 400 years, they're going to have to pay us for over 400 years. And
Yep.
they should be upset with their government for getting them this far into the hole. Like, don't come to us. We're the people who are old.
Exactly. Exactly. But guys, I got to end the stream there. Lady Warrior, I know you didn't get a chance to see, but I gotta go and check on my baby. I love you all. Thank you for joining me. Liberal Boogeyman. Everybody who joined me, I gotta go check on my newborn. He's only a week and a half old. So I love you all. Horns up, peace out. I will have another live stream about 2 or 3 hours. We got to continue this conversation. So I'll make sure I give you everybody a follow. Everybody a follow,
Give me
man.
the invite to
Love
that. 'Cause
him.
I definitely want to have a conversation with you about the Native
Yeah.
American stuff.
Yeah, definitely. But anyways, guys, be safe. Horns up, peace out. Good night and good luck.